you everyone for being here. I know some of our folks trickle in a little bit late, but that's okay. They'll join us when they get here. Thank you to Edie Perkins from Kelly Brush Foundation, Kathleen Salas from Spaulding Adaptive Sports, Nicole Clark from Oak Square YMCA in Brighton, and Steve Robinson from Waypoint Adventures, who will be presenting today. We appreciate your time and sharing your knowledge and expertise and resources with our community. This is being recorded. After all of the presentations, I will send any information to anyone who participated. I'll email it. So if you don't think that I know who you are, then please make sure that you message me. So I make sure I know what your last name is and that I have your contact information. And so we're going to do this in segments. So if you can just hold your questions until after each presenter. So each presenter will have about 20 minutes. And then they'll field questions in the middle of that. You can use the chat if you have a question that pops up while the person is speaking. Go ahead and put it in the chat. If you need to just use the hand raise function after, and if you're not able to, if you just want to shout out, anything is fine. So why don't we get started with Edie Perkins from Kelly Brush Foundation.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me on. I am going to share my screen and take you through a little presentation. Can anyone not see my screen? All right. So I'm Edie Perkins. I'm the executive director at the Kelly Brush Foundation, and I've got Diane Vitkus here to back me up and answer more questions. I actually have to hop off after my presentation, but I think Diane will be on the whole time. And if any other questions come up, she can answer them. So the Kelly Brush Foundation is a nonprofit that is all about empowering sports and recreation. Our mission is to empower and inspire people with spinal cord injuries to lead active and engaged lives. And so what I thought I'd do is tell you just a little bit of background about the KBF, and then I'll dive into some information on some of our programs. So first off, the Kelly Brush Foundation was founded 19 years ago by Kelly Brush and her family. Kelly was an avid ski racer. She was racing for NCAA at Middlebury College. And her sophomore year, she was doing incredibly well. And during one of the races, she crashed and flew into an unprotected lift tower and broke her back and was paralyzed from the chest down. And so her ski racing teammates got together and challenged themselves to ride 100 miles and raise money for Kelly so that she could buy a mono ski and a hand cycle and get back to living the active life that she'd always lived. And so they did that, and they ended up raising way more money than she needed for those things. And that's when Kelly and her family decided to start a foundation to help give out grants for adaptive sports equipment so other people with spinal cord injuries could get back to living active lives. As we all know, adaptive sports equipment is incredibly cost prohibitive, and having grants available to people who'd gone through what she'd gone through would break down that financial barrier and help people get back to being active. So 19 years later, we've given out over 1,700 grants for adaptive sports equipment. We've helped hundreds of people by getting active. We now have new programs where we offer scholarships so that people can have first-time adaptive sports experiences. We host camps all across the country so that people can try new sports and build skills in sports that they love. And probably more importantly, connect with other people in the community, with peers who've been through what they've been through, and We've found it's a great source of motivation and confidence, and just really incredible opportunity for people to connect with one another and learn about what it takes to get active and to thrive in life after an injury. And we also have a new program that I'll talk to you a bit about too, called the Active Project. So let's see, actually, why don't I start with that? The Active Project is our newest program. It's an online platform that introduces people to the world of adaptive sports. We have hundreds of videos that show what different sports look like. So it's really an introduction. Like if you're interested, if you've been injured and you used to love surfing, there's adaptive surfing out there, and we have videos that show you what that looks like. And we cover about 80 different sports. So we have videos on all sorts of sports, and we continue to build our video hub so that you can go in and learn about what different sports look like, and what you need to get started. We have information on equipment and on where you can go to get started. Another aspect of the platform is it connects you to places to get active. So if you live in Boston or outside of Boston, there are so many places that offer adaptive sports programs, some of which you'll hear about in just a few minutes when Spaulding talks, and there's others out there too. But you can go on the platform and plug in where you live, or it will just recognize that automatically, and it will introduce you to events and different adaptive sports programs that are near you, so that you can find out where and when you can get active. You can also set up a profile and indicate what kinds of sports you're interested in and what kind of sports you play. And we can then personalize information and send out emails to you about events or other people in your area, or adaptive sports programs that have different teams or opportunities to try those sports. So it's a really incredible resource for introducing people to adaptive sports, to finding places to try them, and connecting with others who do them. So we're really excited about that, and hope that you'll check it out and put yourself on the map so that you can connect with other people and activities. The KBF also hosts camps. This is just sort of an overview of some of the camps that we've done this year. And we do a mountain bike camp every year. We've done a ski camp. We do camps in partnerships with other organizations across the country. And again, it's all about introducing people to new sports, giving people the opportunity to try them, and connecting with peers. We found that the thing that people really remember about the camps is the friendships that they've made, and the things that they've learned, all those sort of life hacks that you learn when you're around somebody who's had more time in a wheelchair than you. You know, things like getting in and out of the car, or because our camps include, they're typically like multi-day events. So we stay in hotels, and oftentimes people have who've never stayed in a hotel before. So it's sort of how learning some, you know, just getting comfortable with getting into a hotel bed or using a hotel shower, and trying new things. So it's a great confidence builder and a great motivator. This past year, we held 8 camps in different parts of the country. featuring all sorts of different sports. And the KBF also gives out scholarships for first-time adaptive sports experiences. So if you say you want to try tennis or try water skiing, then the KBF gives out scholarships for typically around $500 to pay for lessons and travel and expenses to different sports programs so that people can get out and get active and try new things. And then our most well-known program is called the Active Fund. And that is, we give out grants for adaptive sports equipment. As I mentioned, with that all started 19 years ago when Kelly's friends got together and tried to help raise money for her. So we've given out at this point over 1,700 grants for adaptive sports equipment. And we give out equipments for you name it, and there's an adaptive sport for it. And we help people get the equipment once they've tried. One of our requirements is that you've tried it, you know what equipment is right for you. And then twice a year, we have grant cycles where we accept applications and review the applications that come in. This year, we'll be giving out about 300 grants for adaptive sports equipment. And we get asks for over $1 million in equipment, and we've tried to, we give out about 1 million each year. So that program remains our most well-funded and our biggest program. But we've been adding all of those other programs as other ways to help people find out about what's possible and get out there and try new sports and connect with other people. One of the things that we're really leaning into is how can we build community and how can we bring people together, because we see that that's one of the most life-changing things, is connecting with other people, learning from one another, and discovering new passions and new things to do together. So let me see if I have, just wanted to share some pictures of some of our grant recipients doing the things that they love. Then I wanted to open it up for questions. So I'm gonna stop sharing and see if anyone has questions.
Okay,
I
let's
see
see.
something in the chat. Oh, good. Any questions about the KBF or our different programs?
Yeah, I'll ask a question. And thank you, great presentation. You guys have always been phenomenal. You know, I work with SCIboston, and we refer many people to you guys for the equipment, so thank you. Hey, what is your maximum grant for sports equipment, and what's your turnaround for applications to get people an answer?
Well, we have 2 cycles a year. They're typically we accept applications for about 2 months, and then we take a month to review them and make the final decisions. We've given out up to 10,000 for a grant, but more often it's around 4,000 is the average that we give out. So we've seen a huge growth in, one, sports equipment is just getting more and more expensive. One of the most popular types of equipment nowadays is the off-road hand cycle. And because of advances in technology and the introduction of the e-bike, that sport has become much more accessible to people. Now you can take a mountain bike into the woods, and with the advent of e-assist, it's become really popular. But those bikes cost up to and over $20,000. So we're seeing more and more requests for that type of equipment, and we've given out up to 10,000 for those, but typically we give out more like 4,000.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, oh, someone has a question. Let's see, Abby, go ahead.
Hi, Edie. I'm Sam Burrington's mom, and I just
Hey,
wanted to
Abby.
say, that what Kelly Brush has meant for his recovery and enjoyment of life is, unequaled by any other organization or individual. It's just been a huge, huge blessing. If anybody's new to this whole sphere, definitely recommend trying one of the camps, because as Edie said, you get to know friends who will, be friends for probably a fairly long time and many different dimensions, not all about sports, but also about, going out for a beer and going on a ride, somewhere, in the beauty of nature. And, there's just so many dimensions to the KBF offerings. You should really try to explore all of them. One way to get involved that you could do as an able-bodied caregiver or friend of a person with a spinal cord injury is the annual KBF ride, which takes place in the fall near Middlebury College. It's just such a fun bike ride to raise money that can help pay for these expensive pieces of sports equipment. And it just got a great vibe. It's a really fun day. You can do all sorts of different lengths of rides, and the scenery is gorgeous. It's just a really kind of uplifting experience. Let me follow that with just one question, which I realized when Doug asked his was, how do the recipients of your equipment grants generally make up the difference between what you're able to give them and what they actually cost?
Yeah, exactly. Well, first, thank you, Abby. And Sam is just such an incredible member of the community. We've loved getting to know him and see him grow over the years. He's so accomplished and just such a good mentor for so many. And also because we're speaking to a Massachusetts-based audience for the most part. You're so close to where the KBF is. We're up in Vermont, in Burlington. And we do that ride in Middlebury every year. So thanks for that plug. We'd love to see you. And it's a great way to meet members of the community. So we ask a question on our grant application of if the KBF cannot cover the entire amount of your equipment, how are you going to raise the money? Because we want to understand like where different people are coming from and if they have ability to do that. So some people will do a GoFundMe, some people will save for it, other people apply for grants. There's other foundations similar to the KBF that give out grants. One of them is the Challenged Athletes Foundation. Another is High Fives. So we actually collaborate with those organizations and sometimes can work together to make sure that grants, if we can't cover the whole cost, that there's an opportunity to get funding from one of those other ones. So we try to get a good understanding of where people are coming from and what opportunities they have for the rest of the funding. And that helps us make determinations about how much we can give.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Abby. Ed.
I think you're
Ed,
muted.
muted. Unmute you. I got you, Ed.
Oh, thanks, Heidi. I didn't really have a question until Abby asked how to make up the additional cost of equipment. I received a KBF grant. It was my first grant application. that I ever filled out. And I was really apprehensive about the process. And it turned out that I was accepted. And in response to Abby's question, I was able to piggyback that grant with another grant from a different foundation. And to make up the final balance, organized a fundraiser through the New England Mountain Bike Association, of which I was an active member prior to my accident.
Oh, very cool.
On the 1-year anniversary of my accident, we held a ride at the Wampatuck State Park that raised $5,000.
That's awesome. What kind of equipment did you get?
And I ended up buying an AZUB Tie-Fly X, which is a leg cycle, full suspension,
Nice.
trike with e-assist. And to touch on your earlier point about the cost of equipment, that trike was $14,000. So
Yeah.
without the grants, I don't believe I would have been able to afford that myself. And as you'll see in a little while, I'll be bailing out early to go enjoy it this afternoon.
I've got a hand cycle too, and
It's made a big difference.
yeah, having that's my sort of lifesaver is the getting on my hand cycle.
So the initial point I wanted to make was don't be apprehensive about applying for these grants. If people don't seek out the grants, then the money for those grants will dry up as well. And yeah, don't be afraid to go for it.
Yeah. And I see the question, there's a question in the chat. When does the next grant cycle open? It opens in January. But that one's open for a few months before we give out the awards in May.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, and if anyone is friends with Ed on social media, they can see him on his bike and his enormous smile. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I just, because this is Boston, there's so many community events that happen too. Like we get people together for ski days, and we do an event in Boston and invite people to come to that. It's like a cocktail celebration fundraiser. And there's just nothing like getting to know other people who've been through what you've been through, and sharing those life hacks, and just having a chance to laugh and tell stories. And I totally encourage people to get together.
That's great. Sorry, Diane Vitkus and then Chris.
Hey everyone, I am so happy to be here. I also work for the Kelly Brush Foundation, and I just wanted to plug in that we host a Active Project Live, which is a discussion group every other Tuesday, and each week or every other week, we try to focus on different adaptive sports, and really just an opportunity, a virtual opportunity to get people together and talk about a different adaptive sport, and really get an opportunity to meet people in the community and form those connections. So the next one is going to be December 10th, and we're doing rock climbing. So if anyone's interested, make sure, I think it's paired with the United Spinal Association. So I think it's either on the Active Project calendar, and will also be on the United Spinal calendar.
Awesome.
Thanks, Diane. That's, good fun.
Thank you. Thanks, Diane. Chris.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I'm really new to this, just getting my feet wet, so I'm not nearly close to thinking about grants or buying anything. But I've been on my first ride this summer, and I'm anxious to get back out there. I did a recumbent bike with pedal power. I've got good strength in one leg that I can kind of send the other one along for the ride, but I'd like to try to do that again. And I'm really not sure what to do for next steps. So I'd definitely like to check out the videos that you mentioned. But if I have specific questions going forward, what's the best way to contact you guys for advice? Or, you know, if I say, here's what I'm trying to do, can you point me in the right direction? Can I just contact you, Edie, or
Yep, you can
Diane?
contact me, or we have a grants at kellybrushfoundation.org, and they're the sort of the equipment specialists who are really good at helping point you in the right direction, or if there might be a scholarship opportunity or some kind of place where you can try different equipment to make sure you find what really works for you. They can help point you in the right direction.
Okay, could you put that in the chat so
Yeah,
I
let me
could
type that.
reference that?
And you can
Uh,
always reach me too, and I'll just
And I'll put Ed Newell on notice that I'll probably be bothering you with a bunch of questions too as I get into this.
I just actually raised my hand so I could respond to you, Chris. Have you checked out Spaulding's adaptive sports program at all?
I haven't yet. I went to an event in Natick run by an organization
Yeah.
that the state sponsored, and I haven't. I just started going to Spaulding in Charlestown last month, so I'm brand new to it.
Are you doing their winter spin program?
I am not. I don't know about it.
Yeah, check out
In
their
about
adaptive
5
sport.
minutes, I'll be
I
Okay.
know, yeah,
there.
All
you're
right.
gonna, you're gonna hear all about it.
I'm stealing Kathleen's thunder. I'll stop there.
yeah,
I'm a big supporter of your programs, Kathleen. So pardon me. I'll step back.
No, it's wonderful. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. So yeah, I want to get to the next presentation, but let's just these questions quickly. Does Kelly Brush Foundation accept applications for maintenance of equipment, or repairs?
No, I'm afraid we don't.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know that's a tough one, Ryan.
Yeah.
I know you've just dealt with that. Brian is asking, I'm new to this, and all is well. I guess I'm curious as to how people get their bike to the various rides or different locations.
Well, we actually have some videos on how to get your bike in the car on our active project platform, so you should check that out. But if you don't have a big enough car, there's bike racks that you can buy that are special for hand cycles or three-wheeled bikes. So there's we can always help you find where to buy those.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Edie.
Yeah, and I do have to jump. So thank you so much
Sure.
for having me on, and feel free to reach out. And Diane's here too. So
Great. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
thanks.
All right. And
All
thank
right.
you also for being here, Diane.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. All right. We're going to move to Kathleen Salas with Spaulding Adaptive Sports.
Thank you. Thanks, Ed. Thanks, everybody. It's nice to be here and see so many familiar faces. Heidi, you're going to have a problem next year because there's so many regional resources and we are all well connected. So I kind of love these conversations personally and professionally. I've been writing notes down, but what I will do, let me share my screen. And I believe I have 18 slides for you. Diane, would you do me the honor of putting our website into the chat? There's a lot of people on this call that are familiar and friendly with all of us. So I'm just going to show you what's happening this winter in our community. I am a PT first and foremost. I always make the joke, not unlike Molly and some other colleagues in the field. I'm a bit lapsed. I'm not in the clinic anymore. I'm running the year-round adaptive programs out of our Boston Charlestown site. This will be my 20th year being involved in adaptive sports. I came into it as a ski volunteer back in the day because I was told I'd get a free season's pass if I wanted to be a volunteer, and that suited me fine. So now I manage our ski club and our year-round program. Everyone on this call, we're here for the same reason. We share very similar mission, empowering clients, and I really think about bridging that gap. Having spent my whole career prior to this in the rehab realm, there are a lot of gaps. You know, you go home, you've had inpatient, you've had outpatient, you've had home care. So we're really trying to fill in that gap of how do we support people for their lifelong goals for health and wellness. I am lucky in that my team, my full-time staff, most of them are recreation therapists, but I do have exercise science professionals that are highly trained in our sport specifically. So again, I'm lucky in the Charlestown community because I do see inpatients. I work very closely with the inpatient staff to get people down as early as possible. We know that early introduction to sport makes a significant difference. I'll say low cost. Gosh, I'd love to say there's a day in the next decade or two where your healthcare insurance will help pay for adaptive sports. We are really trying. We are not there yet. But let me keep moving along here. There we go. I kind of hate this slide, but I'll tell you in the map, there are the 3 regions. I'm in Boston. There are 1 to 2 days a week up on the North Shore out of Salem and Peabody. And then in Cape Cod, we do have a couple of locations now. One in Sandwich where the hospital is, and one out as part of a collaboration with the state, the DCR, out at Nickerson State Park. I highlighted the sports that we're doing through the winter, and I'm going to talk about those in the upcoming slides. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the esteemed Dr. Sherry Blauette, who is a friend and a colleague and a Paralympian and well known to a lot of us on this call. She started partnering with us to use some of our documentation and data to try to do surveys and reach out to participants and get more information. I'm a little bit preaching to the choir here. What are the benefits of adaptive sport? So I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I think it's important to know we are missing research in the field. We are trying to, with Sherry's help, get published many years so that physicians and professionals at every level of healthcare and sport are aware of what we're all doing. Because guess what? The benefits are a huge variety. I use this participant feedback as a way to encourage clients to come. I have the PT worldview, so I think I used to encourage people to come in the, hey, your cardio will get better, your strength, your balance. Some people are saying, yeah, that's all good and fine. I really want a social community. I really want to meet people that have gone through what I've gone through. So the benefits are, and I apologize that this particular slide, I don't have the citation. This is from 2018. There are more current resources and research that have been published that if anyone's interested, I'm really happy to share that with you. I teach a PT class in the summer about adaptive sport in Charlestown. And I think it's really important to advance in the field that our stories are being told across the healthcare realm. This is really old school, but I mention it. Anyone that likes numbers, like that's not super impressive, all those physical benefits and gains. This was all self-report. This was old school. This was a piece of paper in November that went out to clients. I put this slide in, however, because these numbers, the story they tell is when I break this data down more, clients that had come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times were getting self-reporting the physical benefits, balance, strength, endurance. So this data looks real low. The confidence, self-esteem, mood, people that said, this is what adaptive sport did for me, the benefits were in these intangibles. That didn't matter if you came once, twice, more than 10 times, more than 20. That 84, 85% of the clients, people were saying it had a ripple effect in those intangible areas, even if they only came once or twice. Again, a little bit preaching to the choir. This is a conversation that we are often having, especially when I have my PT hat back on. You know, one of the questions I get is from parents or from loved ones, like, isn't it risky? Sport is risky. Of course it is. We have you sign a waiver. But the conversation across the field, across the country, is really the right to risk. And really, we're encouraging people to, we're managing those risks to the best of our abilities. I work for the hospital network for Spaulding and Mass General Brigham, so you better believe I better have really detailed and tedious risk management policies. But the needle is kind of moving toward encouraging people, get out early, exercise often, because we're finding the risk of not exercising, too little movement, too little activity, those are really worse for long-term health than getting out there too soon and doing too much. Indoor spin, thank you, Ed. We've got a fleet of way too many bikes. I have some in my garage. They're in Salem Clinic. They're in the hospital. We own really 3 fleets of hand cycles and leg cycles of all levels. You can see on the far right, these beautiful recumbent bicycles. This was our Martha's Vineyard ride in October many years ago. So the same fleet of bikes we use the 6 outdoor months from April to October, we pack most of them away, but a lot of them are being used at 4 or 5 different locations in the winter. It is super fun. It is a spin class. You work as hard as you want to work. It's challenge by choice, but we are putting a screen up there. Let's go to the national parks. And we're really playing music and doing a 50 to 60 minute spin class several days a week across all regions. I really like showing this grip adaptation. That's one of 3 pretty common grip adaptations we're using. So if someone's missing grip, of course, this is a way to really connect into the hand cycle. I think this is a video setup here, if I can move my details around. Yeah, so we've got other grip adaptations, of course. We have bicycles with different backrests and heights. So that's part of our role, is sorting out, not unlike Edie was speaking about, finding the best bike for you for a grant. We have a lot of people that come to us and say, I want to try 2 or 3 different styles before I submit for a grant. Well, you absolutely should. This time of year is when I'm writing a handful of letters, which I'm really happy to do, for KBF, for CAF, saying, yep, Ed Newell came to us 5 times. We figured out the best bike. This is not going to gather dust in his closet. This is the one that he should get. So we're happy to have people come and try the bikes. And then, you know, good news, bad news, we may not see them again because they got their grant, they got their bike, they got their bike rack. So that is definitely a part of what we're happy to do. This mountain biking program, you did see a number of beautiful slides from KBF. For Spaulding, the only location we're doing that is down in Marston Mills. I will say mountain biking, it is Cape Cod. It's not Vermont. So I don't want people to be intimidated. P.S. There are no mountain hills in Cape Cod. So it's a great introductory place for people to try trail riding. This bike on the left is pretty different than anything we have for road cycling. It scares me a little bit, but it's a phenomenal bike. Just a different style of hand cycle I wanted you to be aware of. Terry Downey, one of our phenomenal physical therapists, runs this program almost year round now. I would say during the pandemic is when she realized, like, gosh, we all want to get outside year round. Why wouldn't we? She's pretty busy with that 1 day a week program. So if you put in your name to request seeing her on a Saturday, be patient. You may not know until Tuesday or Wednesday of that week whether she can take you or not. If you want to email me and nudge me, perfectly fine. I'm happy to be that conduit. Target Sports. Thankfully, my colleague and the person that took over my North Shore program, Jennifer Packard, is an OT and personally skilled in the target sports. So when we received a grant of a whole, a trailer full of air rifle equipment, she was able to step right in and take over that program for me. And being an OT, she is obviously very talented at figuring out grip adaptation for someone, regardless of their level of injury. She's got a sip and puff set up for air rifle. We have a bow stand for archery for someone that might use just one hand. In the summer, she's running 6 months of archery. In the winter, she does a leapfrog model. 1 month is air rifle, the next month is archery. That's up in Woburn. So on the website, you'd find that in the North Shore region. But really, anything's possible. Waypoint, Steve, nice to meet you. We haven't met yet. This is one of my favorite slides. We love collaborating with Waypoint Adventures. They are the content experts. That is definitely not us. We partner where I send 1 or 2 of my staff that know our clients and know their abilities and limitations. And we do a couple of indoor climbs, and then we end up at the Quincy Quarries, which is a phenomenal event together. This slide makes me a little bit sad because wheelchair basketball has not picked up in the last handful of years post-pandemic. We are open to bringing that back. Currently on our website, where everyone registers, it'll say court sports. The description describes that we're providing both pickleball and basketball. It depends on who shows that day and what they want to do. Guess what? Pickleball, this trend is real. It is not going away. I love both sports equally. In the summer, I'm running tennis and pickleball simultaneously. We mix it up. So often on a pickleball court, I might have 2 people in chairs, 1 person standing. We may be playing 3v3, 4v4, whatever it takes to make it inclusive and productive. Golf, not in my wheelhouse either, but thankfully I always have talented staff that love golf and are supportive of that program. Years past, we had a golf pro expert with us. We're still looking for a golf pro for part-time in the winter. So if you know someone, definitely reach out. In the summer, we're at a handful of locations all across the region. This solo rider on the right is an adaptive golf cart. We've got a couple of those, and we've got a paragolfer, which is a little fancier, little pricier and a little harder to keep running, a little more quirks, but we bring that to every golf course that we're at, of course, to let someone get up over the ball and be able to be effective swinging. In the winter, we're at different superstores to use the simulator, which is actually really fun and gives amazing feedback. Swim. Swim is near and dear to my heart. We are once a week in the hospital. This is a pretty new program. The aquatic therapist, PT people were a little upset with me at first. They thought I might be taking their insurance paid for clients. Nope. You can send people to us after they've done their aquatic therapy for their rehab goals. We're really working on how do you swim? I've had people after spinal cord injuries say like, hey, I'm going on vacation and I need to know, are my legs gonna sink or float? I want to go goofing around with my family, like whatever. I've had people come once or twice just to see how their body reacts. I love this swing program. The other thing we've been doing in the spring especially is having people come in and try different styles of PFD to see if they're confident in the water to roll and be eligible to go out in a kayak with us. So again, a broad bunch of reasons and goals to get in the pool with us on Mondays. Got to bring it up to winter here. On the right, that is our monoski camp up in Stowe with KBF, with a couple of people on this call. We love that event. It's a huge collaboration of monoskiers and a couple of bi-skiers that'll happen on January 12th. We are doing our training currently indoors. There are so many ways to get on snow. We have a lot of tethered bi-skiers. you know, anything goes. I really have been blown away with this Tetra ski. The photo's a little funny on the bottom here. It is a bi-ski. It's got two wide skis on the bottom. It came out of University of Utah about 5 years ago, and it uses sip and puff technology or joystick, where the client is doing so much more than the old school bi-skis that we're able to use. In New England now, I think there's 6 Tetra skis at a number of different mountains. So please, please, please reach out if that is of interest. It's really a phenomenal piece of equipment. Sled hockey is happening most Sundays, October to May, with my colleagues in Everett. This photo on the left, I really appreciate. Sean is using the push handle. So if a participant does not have the strength or endurance to self-propel and participate, we've got you. We've got pushers that are happy to be part of that sport together. We talk a lot about IFTs. My staff, I've mentioned the rec therapists and the XI folks. They are all trained in inclusive fitness training. It's a phenomenal program where you study and need to pass an exam. I'd love to see more people across the region pursuing this. So it combines what they know about fitness training with applying that to people with different abilities and disabilities. So we've got this happening at a couple of different YMCAs, including the Quincy, through the winter. We've got that in person. We've got that virtually. Guess what? Virtual programs are not going away anytime real soon. As much as staff gets a little tired of being on Zoom, it's really productive and effective program. So this is just a couple of the classes that we're currently running. Yoga is grant funded, so that is always free, both in person and virtually. So definitely keep that in mind when you look at the virtual offerings on our website. Mentor is another free program. This came to us also pandemic. It's a CDC grant funded program run by one of our very talented recreation therapists, Haley Kerwin Brown. So it's an 8-week program, 5 hours a week commitment, where you're in a small group of people, 8 to 10 clients that are similar to you, and going through exercises and goal setting with Haley, and then going through some mindfulness and nutrition. It is a remarkable program. I hope this trend takes on nationwide. Currently, there's only about 12 rehab hospitals across the country that are part of this CDC grant. And what it does, it kind of expands PTOT everything. As you can see, Mentor stands for mindfulness, exercise, nutrition. Haley is enrolling another group in January. So if we had a group that wanted to come together after this call and be together and do a program just with the SCI community, great, let's do it. That doesn't have to be the way, but sometimes that can be really productive.
Yeah.
Last
Kathleen-
slide.
Oh,
is
okay.
the
Yeah,
website. Yes.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Mm.
We're at like the 20 minutes. I know we haven't had a chance to take any questions yet, so maybe just so you
Yeah.
know, we're
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
good. This is my last slide.
okay. Thank
Um,
you.
Must go through website. You have to register. You can do that online. You can do that by telephone. You can call me or email me. We do have scholarships available for most of our programs. It is not a complex W-2 form. There are a couple of expensive sports that we can't reduce the cost for you. But please, please, please reach out. I don't want to infringe on the next speaker's times. So keep in
So why
touch.
don't,
Yep.
yeah, and why don't, if anybody has questions, if you want to hold them or put them in the chat or connect with Kathleen, I'm sorry that we're tight on time.
Yep.
But Kathleen, thank you so much.
You're so
But
welcome.
hang out, and if you're able to stay a little bit, if anyone has a question at the end, we can certainly have you take that. Thank you. All right, next up we have Nicole.
All right, hello. Let me share my screen here. All right. All right. Everyone can see this. So,
It's just loading, Nicole.
oh, it's loading.
For me, I
Okay.
don't know. Can anyone else see it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Wait, why
We,
is
s-
it?
we see your screen, but it's just loading.
Why is it saying paused?
This is loading.
Didn't want to do that. Let me see here.
There it is. Now we can see it, Nicole.
Yeah, okay. Let me just, I just accidentally deleted one of my slides, so let me do that
Oh.
again. All right. Can you see it now?
Oh,
Is
it's
it still
loading.
not loading? All right,
No,
you know,
just
we'll just go through it like this.
Yeah,
It's
go
fine.
through and then edit view.
Yeah. Mm. Well, now it went away fully. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Where are we at here? What is going on with this?
Nicole, do you,
All right. Sorry.
Nicole, you did share it with me. Do you want me to try to share my screen and then you can just tell
Yeah,
me?
sure. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, let me try to share it.
Sorry, it was working fine earlier. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Molly.
No worries.
All right, well, there we go. Hello, everybody. I am Nicole Clark. I am the Adaptive Fitness Program Coordinator for YMCA of Greater Boston. And I'm here to talk about a new adaptive exercise program that just launched about a month ago called Access to Exercise. So a little bit of background. YMCA of Greater Boston received a grant about a year ago. Thank you to our wonderful Molly, who is integral in getting that. And the idea was to start more adaptive fitness programs. We realized we were missing a big chunk of people and we weren't as inclusive as hoped to be. So with that, we started some adaptive fitness programs. The first one, where we are right now, is at the Oak Square location. So a little bit about the program. Here's our flyer. You can see. So our main goal, we are a recreational exercise program catered to those with physical disabilities. So mainly, I mean, we serve people right now. My clients have spinal cord injury, MS, stroke, really anyone that has any mobility difficulties that makes going into a typical gym space maybe intimidating or not as feasible as they would desire, having a program that caters specifically to them. And then additionally, everyone who joins the program has one-on-one training. So it's either with myself or I have a trainer that works with me. And as Kathleen was just talking about, that inclusive fitness trainer, we have both undergone that training. So that's kind of our focus. And each session, it's one-on-one, it's never group. And people could do their own thing, but it's expected that everyone is trained with us and we come up with their exercise program for them. Okay. Go to the next one, Molly.
Okay. Whoop, is that right?
Yeah. So our overall goals with this program is to provide a safe and structured exercise program for those with physical disabilities. We want to provide a high quality experience that meets individual needs. So everyone that comes in, they have their own exercise program. It does not look the same for everybody. I kind of meet clients where they're at, whether they have just received a diagnosis, just sustained a spinal cord injury, or are 20 years out. I'm creating an exercise program that's specific to them. And also additionally with that grant that I mentioned, the YMCA of Greater Boston is looking at all of our sites to provide opportunities for those with disabilities. So right now, there are 13 sites within YMCA of Greater Boston. I believe 9 of them have had accessibility studies done. to look at someone's experience from the minute they pull into the parking lot to the minute they leave, like ramp access, doors, bathrooms, everything, and really trying to make all of our sites more accessible. Okay. So a little bit about the program. Right now, if someone reaches out to me interested, they've heard a little bit about it, I conduct a very simple phone screening, just kind of making sure that they have a basic understanding of what the program is, making sure that they have a diagnosis or disability that would fit the program. And from there, I would schedule an intake session. That really is looking at medical history. I do require medical clearance for everyone who joins, but I also get a simple PAR-Q just to review anything that's happened. And then I'm also looking at their current exercise routine, whether they have one or not, just like to know kind of where we're starting at. And also reviewing program expectations, making sure everyone is aware that this is a recreational program. I am not a physical therapist. It is not physical therapy. That this is really just to promote exercise. From there, if someone is currently in physical or occupational therapy, I'll generally reach out to their therapist if they give me permission and kind of talk with them about what that program is currently looking like, any insights they may have, especially as someone might be transitioning out of physical therapy. You know, if they were inpatient, then they had PT, and now they're about to be discharged and don't really have much lined up after that. That's kind of where I want to step in to say, hey, here we go. We can continue your exercise program within my scope of practice, making sure you still have equal access to exercise. And this has also been very beneficial with some of my clients who have diagnoses that I really haven't worked with before, talking with their specialists to make sure I know what's safe for them, any contraindications, anything like that. And then from there, we'll schedule our first exercise session. And that's really, it's very low and slow first session. So I'm really just trying to get to know what people like, what machines they enjoy, what movements they enjoy, and seeing what their range of motion is, what their abilities are. So then from there, I can kind of build out more of a standard program. And part of that is also doing a reevaluation after about 1 month, just kind of making sure that the client is happy with the progress they've made with the program I've designed for them and any changes that they want to make at that point. Can go on. Thank you. So a little bit about data collection. Right now during that intake, doing some basic flexibility and balance measurements. If someone is ambulatory, I'll do some sit to stand, timed up and go tests, just some basic things to get a baseline understanding of kind of where we're starting at. And those would be reevaluated after about a month and then annually after that. I'm also asking people their self-reported fitness at the beginning, where they're at, whether or not they're exercising, just to see kind of any progress we make. On top of that, it's not launched yet, but hopefully in the new year, one of our other consultants who's helping with this project is working with the IRB and hopefully going to be launching some research that's kind of looking at more specifics of the impacts of a community fitness program on someone's overall health. So we're looking at both physical, mental, just social aspects, all of it to really prove that having a accessible community fitness program like this is beneficial to those with physical disabilities. And on top of that, I also track every exercise session and their baseline vitals, so I can see any progress that is made through that. Okay. So this is just kind of an example of that first exercise session. This is from one of my clients a few weeks ago. His goals were just to increase upper body strength, eventually wants to be able to transfer from floor. That is not within my scope of practice and not something I would be working on, but I will be helping him increase that strength so that if he wanted to try those transfers, he could do that with a physical therapist. I will say this is much cleaner than most of the time when I actually do this. It's handwritten and I'm taking a lot of notes. It's a lot of crossing things out if they don't work like I think they might, jumping in with random other thing. Like, it's not as planned as this generally. I go in with a pretty loose plan, just because I don't really know what to expect and what people might like and not like, or if something's way too easy for them. which was the case with this client. I asked the rating of perceived exertion for the first few sessions, just so I have an understanding of where we're starting at. I started him very easy, as you can see. So I had to think pretty quickly and increase the weight, change the exercises. But I kind of go into every session with a loose plan and kind of a backup of other things I can try if something I think might work doesn't work the way I had envisioned. So that's just a little example. Go on. This is then how I would track sessions after that. This is just snippets of our exercise sheets. So for cardio or strength training, it's very similar. I'm tracking the time they spend on the machines, their vitals again, just making sure they're within the safe range before we do any type of exercise. And then for something like the new step, I would track their settings, just so I make sure that the next time they come in, I can have it all set, ready to go for them. This is just an example of how I would track some exercise. Okay. So a little bit about our equipment. My lovely model, Hadwin, who has been helping me, had her pose for some photos. So within the grant, the two big pieces of equipment that were purchased was the FES bike, which is obviously a wonderful piece of equipment. I just had my first client use it last week and he loved it. It was very exciting hearing him rave about how wonderful it was. He had never used it before. So obviously a ton of benefits there. And then additionally, we bought the Kaiser functional trainer. For those who aren't familiar, it's similar to a cable system, but it uses pressurized air instead of actual weight, which is really nice. It's a lot easier on your joints, but it's also a lot easier to pinpoint the exact weight you want to do. So you can get it to the decimal rather than like 5-pound increments, which I found to be very beneficial for my clients who are starting very deconditioned to start really low and increase really slowly. So you're still seeing progress, but we're not having to make like 5-pound jumps. I can go up 1/2 pound, which has been great. Additionally, I also use ski ergometers and new steps quite a bit. Both of these were already already on the fitness floor at Oak Square. But I use these a lot for cardio, for strength training, really. A lot of people really love them. But on top of that, all of the gym equipment is available to me. So all of the machines, free weights, anything that is at the site I can use. These are just kind of some examples of things I use every day for almost all of my clients. Okay. So looking ahead, like I mentioned, this is grant funded and the grant funds 3 sites over 3 years. So Oak Square was the first to launch. We launched about a little over a month ago in October, and we've seen some steady interest, which has been great. Next site will be launching in July of 2025, and the third site, July of 2026. And we're hoping that those haven't been pinpointed yet exactly what sites they're going to be, but our idea is to kind of hit all around the Boston area to make sure it makes sense geographically. But additionally, with those accessibility studies, we're trying to make sure we're hitting the whys that would make the most sense accessibility wise. Tentatively, I believe the next site in July 2025 will be either the North Suburban YMCA in Woburn, perhaps Burbank in Reading, we'll see. And the third site will be somewhere downtown. So somewhere in downtown Boston. And the idea with that is that also, as we collect the data and as we prove how beneficial these programs are, that after these 3 years, we can continue this growth. And after launching 3 sites, we can kind of show people, other YMCAs or other programs, this is how you launch this program, this is what you need, and kind of have a deliverable package to those who are interested in doing the same thing. So yeah, and I believe that is all.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? We do have like another minute or minute or two, if anybody has any questions.
Yes.
Kathleen, go ahead.
I'm so glad to meet you, Nicole. We're definitely going to stay in touch. You might have said this in the beginning. Is there an overlap with the partnership programs, or is this separate?
So technically it is separate. However, Cheryl, who was running the partnership program there, is one of the consultants who's been helping me. So we've been kind of following like how they run their program very closely. So I've kind of been mirroring a lot of what partnership does to launch this site.
Perfect.
Thank you. Joe, and then Steve.
Hi, great presentations. Thank you so much. Quick couple questions. Hold it. Kathleen, just a couple of things on your adaptive skiing. You know, a number of us have difficulty keeping our body temperatures down and correct. And I know there's been a number of skiers out here, but how do you keep yourselves warm? I know normal skiing, you've got all your different layers and things, but what's the key there? The second thing, Kathleen, is the mentor program is great. We actually have a group that Haley Brown did in the initial mentor program at Spaulding, and we continue to exercise 3 times a week. We got about 6 of us. And then Nicole, the YMCA thing is great. I saw that. I was actually going to take it to our local YMCA. Is there any thoughts of this possibly going to other states and nationally? So those are my questions. Thanks.
I can say quickly, yep, staying warm is a really common problem. Some of the skis have almost like a clip-on fleece cover. I can't think of the name. One of them is called the Mountain Mama, believe it or not. So we can pack you in with extra layers. Some folks really like coming to Wachusett, which more of a half-day Thursday. So we ski from 10 to 2:30. Closer mountain, no bus, but warmest part of the day where you ski a couple of hours, come in for lunch, get warm, come out after lunch. And third, it's individualized. So if you need to come in every hour and a half, that is perfectly acceptable. Cannon may not be your favorite because she's north and cold. Yeah.
Thank you. Steve. Oh, I'm sorry. And did I miss, was there a question? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'll
Nicole,
just,
go ahead. I
really
apologize.
quick,
And then I'm
yeah.
going to go to Steve.
No worries.
Thank you.
Overall, the plan and the idea is that these programs are successful to the point that we can eventually bring this idea to the National Alliance for YMCA and get these into all YMCAs across the country. That is kind of like the long-term goal. So yes, that is the idea. I really hope it works out, but we're gonna have to see. It'll be a little bit of time before we get there, probably.
We're hoping that that research piece does help support that idea, and that's what was a big inspirer for getting the research aspect of the project underway too.
Thank you,
I
Molly.
plan to give the article that was in New Mobility magazine to our local people. So I don't know if you get a call or not, but just as an FYI.
Thanks.
Great.
I'm going to go to Steve, and then we want to make sure we've got sorry, Steve Robinson next. So go ahead, Steve Dalton.
Hey, Nicole, thanks for your presentation. I guess my question would be, can I hook you up with a gentleman in the San Francisco Bay Area named Nils Jorgensen, who's been running a program like yours for 20 years at the YMCA there? And the comment is just to give a really good plug for what you're doing, because his program was what I went into when I came out of inpatient rehab, looking for what do I do going from a 6-day-a-week inpatient to, hey, we'll see you twice a week outpatient kind of PT scenario. And we started off with weights on pulleys and eventually transferring onto machines and, you know, using the entire facility for fitness. And that was transformative for my early transition into this. So I'd love to get your email address and get the two of you connected.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll put my contact information in the chat. We don't have a website right now, but if anyone has any more questions or is interested, feel free to email, call me, anything, and I'd be happy to talk more.
Great. Thank you so much, Nicole. Okay, and yeah, any more questions for Nicole or anybody else, please pop them in the chat. There's some good conversation going on there. We're going to turn now to Steve Robinson with Waypoint Adventures.
Okay, just checking that you guys can hear me. My audio on my computer is a little funky, so I have to use these headphones. Is it coming
Yes,
through?
Yes.
we can.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Robinson. I am coming to you by way of Waypoint Adventure. I'll share my screen in just a second, but I wanted to introduce myself and Waypoint. I am brand new to Waypoint, less than about 4 months. And I come to Waypoint from Utah, where I was the program manager at the National Ability Center for many years, overseeing their ski program and their adaptive cycling program and many of those types of things. Waypoint Adventure is a local organization to the Boston area. We're located in Lexington and started in 2010. And we are focused on providing group and individual experiences for people of all abilities. We typically say ages 8 to 80, but we kind of can span even beyond that, for individuals of all abilities. So we range from cognitive and intellectual disabilities to physical disabilities, and everything in between. So let me screen share here a little bit. I'm just going to show you actually our website, and I think it's a little, oh, how do I do this? Application Windows, Microsoft Teams. All right, let's see if this, saying I have to do a security, allow a security thing to share screen. Oh, there we go. Sorry, give me 1 second. Yep, beautiful. So Waypoint Adventure started here in 2010 in the Boston region. Recently, we have some cool news. We actually, about a year ago, expanded into the Asheville, North Carolina area. So there's a Waypoint that took our model. We moved down, and we now have a Waypoint in North Carolina as well. So everything that I talk about to you here, we also replicated in the mountains of North Carolina. But let's focus on here in Massachusetts, what we do. We bring the group adventure experience to people with disabilities. And some of our program areas and our adventure focus areas are hiking, ropes courses, rock climbing, kayaking, canoeing, snowshoeing. We say tandem cycling, but we actually have expanded that to include individual bikes as well. So it's not just tandems. We have an expanding fleet of bikes that I will talk about in just a little bit. We have overnight trips that include our backpacking, as well as some unique and really interesting overnight adventures that we do in the New England area. I'm excited to highlight one of them for you guys here, as we have a few spots open. And then we do group team building and some more winter adventures like cross-country skiing and snowshoeing and things like that over at the Weston ski area. So those are some of what we do. If we click here onto our programs, I want to highlight a specific area. Actually, I'm going to jump over. Right now, we are expanding what we're doing to include a broader focus on individuals with spinal cord injuries. One of the program types that we've been a local expert in within that, and it was mentioned by Spaulding, is our rock climbing program. We have highly certified instructors and all of the equipment, and we do indoor and outdoor rock climbing. We've partnered with Spaulding in the past to do that, but we also host a inclusive series throughout the year. So you could get involved through Spaulding in the partnership. And if you want to do it more, we have an indoor climbing series that we host. And the next one, I just want to get on your radar, is coming up in December. And it's our indoor rock climbing skill building for people with spinal cord injuries. And this is located at Central Rock Gym in Waltham. And we have two different options. We have a 6:15 and we have a 7 p.m. And I'll make sure to include our website and registration links and my contact information in the chat when I'm done here, so we can answer any questions. And so we have an upcoming climbing thing, and this is for anyone of all abilities. So in terms of if you've never climbed before, this is an awesome opportunity. So it's for beginners, or if you have climbed, we meet you at your level. So if you're interested, I'll definitely send out more information about this. Two other things that I really want to highlight is we have a really cool upcoming adventure. Annually, we run a trip up to Mount Willard. This is in New Hampshire, and we do a 2-night Mount Willard summit. We stay at the Highland Center, hosted by that's the big lodge up there at the Appalachian Mountain Club. And you can see some pictures from last year's. We have all the equipment. We bring about 8 participants and family members, and we literally provide everything except for transportation. And we can provide transportation if that is needed, but we don't typically do that. But we have all the equipment, all the food, basically from A to Z, everything you need to come and summit Mount Willard in the winter with us. It is a really cool experience. It's about 6 hours on the trail up to the top. Beautiful, overlooking all the snow and the White Mountains. And then we stay at the nice lodge and with a lot of warmth and hot chocolate. And so this is one of our upcoming events, but we do these types of things throughout the year. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware that we run these cool adventure experiences. We have 2 spots left on the Mount Willard trip. And so I want to get that on your radar because they fill up really quick. I have no doubt by the end of November that it'll be booked up. So if this is interesting to you at all, again, I'll put my information out here for you guys to reach out. And again, we provide everything, all the equipment. Even if you need additional layering, if you don't have any of the outdoor equipment, we provide it all. We have a huge gear garage that has all the puppies and warmth and gloves and extra pants, boots, everything. So we don't want anything to be a barrier to getting you outside and playing. All right. The next adventure series I want to make sure you're aware of, at least upcoming, is we do a cross-country skiing program. And that's coming up. Obviously, we're waiting until the snow, and we'll see how that goes this year as things have been going in Boston. But we have just purchased 2 brand new sit skis, really nice ones. And we have 3 previously in our fleet. So we have a total of 5 sit skis. So we're able to accommodate up to 5 participants at a time. And this is, again, of all levels and abilities. So if you've never done it before, we have high back depending on the level of your injury. So we have different types of different sizes and the adjustments. So we have our cross-country ski program coming up. And again, I'll put the links in our website to our website and where to register and find more information. I'm going to go back to our website because I want to highlight one more area that's relatively newer for us. And it gets away from the programs. And I think we've had some questions about equipment. Because we've been around for 14 years and have some unique equipment, when the pandemic hit a few years ago, we started loaning the equipment out and doing an equipment rental program. So I want to highlight that to you all. Most of the equipment that we loan out lives within the hiking and cycling realms. But on our website, we have the equipment rental tab. And underneath that, I just want to highlight some of our most used pieces of equipment. The Hoyt racing chairs get used quite often. And because they're very universal and can be used for a wide variety of things, not just, they were designed to be a marathon chair. Here, and we have 2 of them in the house, but you can put different types of wheels on them. They're great for off-road access as well. And then we have a number of various types of other chairs like the Hippocamp, the Grit Freedom Chair, the Trail Rider, as well as some electric assist chairs as well. We haven't uploaded our bikes onto here yet, but we have 2 hand cycles, one of which is really interesting. I'll share this picture with you guys. We're not quite outfitted to the level that Spaulding has there in their fleet, but we do have a unique bike, which is the Hasa Kettweisel, which it is an electric assist hand cycle, and then it turns into a tandem bike. So if you and a friend wanted to bike together, the rear bike is actually a foot pedal bike, and then the front captain is the electric assist hand cycle. So we're just now getting to a place where we can rent this bike out and loan it out. It's a very easy to ride, great entry level bike, perfect for a lot of the rail trails in the area, and smooth, wonderful bike. So that is available as well for a unique tandem experience. We just finished our last cycling program of the year. We were down at Lake Wampatuck, Wampatuck State Park yesterday. That's actually where this picture was taken. And we did a lot of the trails out there. Beautiful spot. These are group rides. And yeah, so I'll kind of pause it there because I know that we're coming up on time. And let me stop share.
It's fine to go. I want to give you that 20-minute kind of space too. So it's, if we go over a little bit, that's
yeah.
fine.
I didn't prepare a whole presentation. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about what we do. I'll just add one more thing. We are more of an adventure education outfitter. So a lot of our staff come through outdoor education channels and have a lot of certifications and high-level certifications in various outdoor disciplines. So rock climbing, cycling, off-road, mountain biking and things like that. So we sort of pride ourselves in being highly skilled in the outdoor recreation domains. And we take risk assessment very, very seriously. And so we have a very good track record of being safe and minimal incidents on our programs. So yeah, that's us at Waypoint. We do about 300 programs a year. Our biggest season is late spring. When it warms up, we do a lot of cycling and water sports with kayaking and canoeing. We have a full fleet of kayaks, also accessible. We have all different types of grips and assistive devices as well. So yeah, that's us. Welcome any questions.
Thank you, Steve. Abby.
Well, Steve, I had no idea that you had all this, so I just wanted to say thank you, and definitely you'll be hearing from us.
Woo! That sounds awesome. Yeah. We also have one Bowhead Reach, which is an off-road hand cycle. The Reach isn't technically a hand cycle, but these are off-road hand cycles. Bowhead is a company out of Canada that makes some very, very cool bikes, off-road bikes. And so we have one. We'll find out in December if we receive a grant to get 3 more. So we'd have 2 off-road e-assist hand cycles and 3 more bikes. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but here's hoping. Fingers crossed that we get that grant so we can start to do a little bit more of the trail riding as well.
What's so special is that you actually get up in the mountains. I mean, that is just not to be found elsewhere. That is very important to some people. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it is, we do about 10 to 12 overnights a year. So when we say we get up into the mountains, we call it, that's part of our overnights program. And again, I'll put our website in here. and you go into overnights, and it details all the different ones that we do. And I want to highlight again the Mount Wither trip coming up at the end of January. It's like one of our flagship awesome trips. And we have 2 more spots available for that trip. But yeah, thank you for that. And I think I see one more. Is it Diane? Are you raising your hand?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's actually Donna.
it's actually Donna. Hi, Steve.
Donna, hey.
Hi there. So I just wanted to say that I have participated in many Waypoint Adventures as a participant and as a volunteer. Fabulous organization. I can't say enough. They're like in Lexington. I don't know how I didn't know they were there for so long. It's like, oh my God, they're my next door neighbors. But fabulous. And I hope to see I hope that we can do some activities together.
Thank you for that, Donna. Yeah, we love having you out and playing with us.
Great. Any other questions for Steve? Anyone else?
I had a selfish question whether the Capvisel hand cycle is only available with electric assist currently. I don't know if you know that.
Ours or just in general?
In general, I didn't know that existed yet.
I don't know the answer to that. I could find out pretty quickly because we just got that less than a year ago. But
that's cool.
Let's
Yeah,
dig it
we've
again.
never
Yeah.
been able to tandem with a hand cycle, and that doesn't feel inclusive, right? We all want
Right.
every option available.
Oh, it's so cool. In fact, Donna's used that bike. I don't think she used it as a tandem, but it's phenomenal. It's such an easy ride, and to have it as a tandem is so fun. It depends on who you ride with though, because sometimes those tandems can be called divorce bikes for a reason.
Yeah. Great. Any final questions for Steve or for any of the other presenters?
Heidi, should I put my links and stuff in the group chat, or is there a better way to
Yes,
get the
you could go ahead
information
and do
out?
that. So again, as I mentioned at the beginning, anyone who's participating today, I will email you any information that we've gathered, just contact information and such. If you don't think I know who you are, please make sure that you give me your email address or identify yourself to me. And excuse me, this has also been recorded, so as soon as we can, we'll get this up on our YouTube page and share it with the community. Just a huge thank you to Edie Perkins, Diane Vitkus, Kathleen, Nicole, and Steve. What a just amazing resources out there. So appreciate your time on a Saturday morning to come and talk to us about it. And I know that the recording will be shared and viewed quite a bit. And we'll be happy to, continue sharing this as a resource to people who are asking about adaptive fitness and exercise and recreation programs. So much appreciated. Thank you all who attended. Please reach out to me if you have any questions about anything related to this or anything else. Happy to help. Yeah. Molly, did you have something?
I just wanted to echo what Heidi said and say thank you to everyone for attending, and a special thank you to all our speakers. Really wonderful information, and I echo the comments that are in the chat that it's just great to know these resources exist and to share them with our community far and wide, and we will endeavor to make everyone aware of what happened here today so we can continue to spread the word. So thank you everybody again.
Thank you so much. Good to see y'all.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Great to see everybody. Have a great day.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Thank you.